What's up, Mets fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Interstate Mets Report. It's your boy CP, wearing my fresh new Rangers jersey. Got to support the boys in blue. How are you all doing? Shout out the chat. The chat is popping already. We just started off the stream. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Nelson, my co-host, how are you today, my man?
I'm good. I was a little bit hungover this morning, but I'm good
Just
to
a
go.
little bit.
Just a little bit.
I love it, man. The Yamamoto news got us all in a bad spot, and maybe some drinks going in for Mets fans in last night. So, like I said, we got a special guest today. We're going to be talking all things Mets in lieu of the recent Yamamoto news. We'll be talking about pivot points for the New York Mets, the bullpen market, and the whole dynamic of the New York Mets in 2024 and trusting this front office moving forward. So I appreciate the chat. Let's shout out some comments before we get really into it. Carlos is in the chat, says sub CP and Cohen and Stearns, we trust, bro. LGM. Appreciate you, Carlos. Ibby's in the house. Oh, hey, boys. What up, Ibby? Appreciate you. Go check out the Till Mets Do Us Part podcast. Aired today. Great stream as well. We got Drifter in the chat as well. Appreciate everyone. Patty's in the chat. Matt says he loves your honesty, Nelson. And we got John also in the chat. I appreciate you all. It's going to be a great stream. We got a special guest today. We're going to bring him up here in a second. But you know we got to play the special holidays intro. Happy holidays to everyone. Let's get started.
12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 Louis 9, ladies dancing, 8 maids are milking, 7 swan, 6 kids are laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Oh, fire.
Yo, we got Keith from Shea N Sons in the house. So what up, Keith?
Yo, that intro is so following and dying. The 5 golden rings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got Keith
That
in
was
the
so
house. Nelson,
awesome.
shout out Nelson for that intro. He definitely made it. All props to him. Keith, man, I appreciate you taking some time with us. We're going to talk everything New York Mets today. Shout out your podcast. And I know you got to drop off here in a second, but
Give me one sec, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get into that, like I said, Keith's in the building. He's got to take care of something real quick. He'll be right back to introduce his podcast. If you haven't checked out the Shea N Sons podcast yet, make sure you go ahead and do so. Drop down below in the description. Give Shea N Sons a sub on YouTube, almost to 200 subscribers. They did a great show. I know Keith wasn't able to be on the stream tonight, but Keith went live, one of his first lives on the Shea N Sons YouTube. Great job. Go subscribe. You won't regret it. When he gets back here, I'll let him talk about his podcast and everything that they're doing over there in Shea N Sons. But just some overall Mets content. And Nelson, I know you agree with this sentiment. The Mets Twitter and Mets content creation community is awesome. I mean, in the chat here, we got Ibby from Till Mets Do Us Part. We got Ant usually checking in on the streams from Subway to Shea. He did a live earlier today. We got Talking Mets with Rob, who we do the Mets Roundtable podcast with. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about this Mets content community, and I know you feel the same way. So a lot of dope stuff happening there. But yeah, I mean, before we get into it, Keith is going to be back with us. Give us just your initial thoughts. We'll talk about Yamamoto more extensively in this episode. But how are you feeling just on the surface level, Nelson? I'm curious to get your thoughts here.
I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, I had literally grown so tired of hearing about this dude that I was just ready for him to sign anywhere. Is it good that he signed with the Dodgers? No. Should we have seen it coming? Probably. It's just I don't know, the way Ohtani did his deal and then this and everything. It just feels dirty for some reason. I don't understand what the feeling I have is, but it's just not. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like we got played. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Like, we have to move forward. We can't just cry about it. Like, I know it's fine to be down in the dumps about it, but some of the stuff I've seen, I mean, it's a little over the top. Like, we'll survive. It's gonna be all right. Does it suck that we missed out on the big fish? Sure, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we will too. There's a lot of different ways the Mets can go about it. I don't know. MEZ's already in the chat. I did guarantee that Yoshinobu Yamamoto was going to be a Met a couple
Hold up,
hours on the
wait,
Mets House
what?
Stove stream.
What the
I
hell
made
did
a
you
mistake,
ask
man.
for?
I was feeling myself. I made a mistake. So I hope nobody really holds me to that. MEZ, I appreciate you checking me on here. But no, like I said, it definitely, and like John said here, it definitely feels like a setup. Before we get into Yamamoto, Keith is back. Keith, tell the
Sorry.
viewers everything about the Shea N Sons podcast and where they can find you.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, it's brothers, pro brothers podcast about the Mets. Me and my baby brother, we talk about all things Mets. We kind of do it in a very outlandish way. We're very you know, we take the seal off the container, if lack of a better term. We pretty much just keep it real. We like to just talk ball. We also talk about other teams, but we're all usually on Twitter and Facebook. YouTube, and we pretty much, that's our @ right there. Thank you again, Chris, for putting that there. Shea N Sons, and yeah, man, we're gonna kind of follow your path of things, you guys. The way you do lives, it's actually really fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's really cool. But yeah, we like to just kick it with a lot of Met fans and just we in this together,
Absolutely, bro. You guys are doing great stuff.
Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, like I said, that's watching this, make sure you drop those comments. Subscribe to Shea N Sons in the description. Their YouTube channels in the description, and I linked your Twitter, Keith, in the description, so people can go and watch those awesome, I guess, new acquisition videos that you released. You go in on. It's absolutely
My
phenomenal.
MLB The Show little
So,
breakdowns. I know Nelson loves those.
absolutely. They're gold. So let's talk about Yamamoto, Mr. Yamamoto. I want to get your opinions and feel free to go on a rant. I know you're going in on the Dodgers, Yamamoto's agents, the Dodgers front office earlier on your stream. I completely agreed with all your sentiments. Obviously, the breaking news here, we're a little bit late. We're not in our usual time slot. We are going live at 9 p.m. So you've probably heard everyone else's opinions so far, but ours. But 12 years, $325 million for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I believe he has an opt-out after 2029. I believe there's another opt-out sprinkled in between there. Not sure exactly when the second opt-out is, but this just feels, and I think the chat is sharing the same sentiment, it felt like a setup from the start. It felt like the Mets got used and abused, man. I know you feel the same way. So what are your initial reactions about this whole situation and, the whole big picture, I guess, with Yamamoto now being a Los Angeles Dodger?
I'm a big basketball fan, and when KD and Kyrie did their shenanigans, like that left a bad taste in my mouth. But this, to me, takes the cake because, like, they're maneuvering payroll. This is unprecedented. Like, this is at a point where it's like we're manipulating entire market for other free agents as well, and this dialogue that's been in the CBA. It's been in the CBA for about 2-3 years now since they agreed on the recent CBA, and no other free agent has gone out their way has been given the okay by the team. Like, yeah, we'll defer the money for you. Clearly, it's only been done for Shohei Ohtani, and respectfully so. Shohei Ohtani, I get it, but no one saw it coming. It was kept on the wraps, and in my personal opinion, Yamamoto pretty much used the state of New York as a bargaining chip to make sure the Dodgers met his number. And, for a while I was flirting around, we'll just throw down 400 million or whatever. It looked like the totals would be 400. And I'm saying that because I always felt we would outbid the Yankees. And look, they just kind of like pie on my face because I initially thought the minute they traded for Glass now the Dodgers, I said, all right, they're not going to give a pitcher $300 to $400 million. They're not. Even though, Shohei, he deferred his money, it felt like they were kind of going a much more calmer route. They're going to fill in holes, a bunch of little pieces here, instead of giving a big chunk of money to one guy. And look, pie on my face, I was clearly wrong. And I feel like, personally, this has been in the works probably since the World Baseball Classic, to be quite honest with you. Has to be. Maybe even before then. But these guys are clearly close. They're going to be playing together. They're both pitchers. So they know, they have a relationship with one another. And my personal opinion, if Yamamoto really, 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 really wanted to be on the East Coast, he probably would have made a decision weeks ago. And it felt like the way Ohtani maneuvered his market, where we were waiting and wondering what's going on, winter meetings, nothing here, all these rumors and everything. And then this kind of felt very similar. We're waiting, and there's rumors here. And it seems like nobody knows what's going on. And if you just compare the two situations, both situations had false reporting, had a lot of situations where we're waiting and wondering what's going on. Probably contract dialogue was being put together in the background for both of these guys and making sure that, his clause after 6 years was going to be met, or, making sure that if the Yankees or Mets have a number that he likes, that the Dodgers would match. Like, if you look at Ohtani's agreements and his deal with his interpreter, his agent, and then the ownership with the Dodgers, there's clauses for a lot of people that don't include Shohei Ohtani. I'm pretty sure they told him, or he told them, Friedman and everybody, hey, I'm signing this, making sure that we bring in player A, B, and C, and they're doing it. So it's kind of annoying, personally. It's legal, which is worse. It's kind of annoying, but it's like nothing we can do about it. But you know what? Baseball's funny, man. Baseball's a funny sport. Next thing you know, they're getting clocked in by the Diamondbacks again. So we'll see. They're going to be the most hated team in baseball, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with those sentiments 100%. Like Nelson said, life moves on, right?
Absolutely.
If Yamamoto didn't want to be in Queens, us as Mets fans, did we really want him here? Like, I feel like New Yorkers in general, especially Mets fans, like we want and we should have the sentiment of, if that guy doesn't want to be here truly at the end of the day, same thing with Ohtani. If his camp never reached out to Steve Cohen to start contract negotiations and see if they're interested, see you later. Honestly, see you later. That's what I take away from this, to be honest with you. And like I said, and people in the chat are here saying it, like, Cohen really couldn't have played this situation any better. Like, if I'm a Mets fan and I see Yoshinobu Yamamoto walk away to the Dodgers, that's fine. It sucks. It sucks really badly. But our owner did the best that he possibly could to get Yamamoto in those doors. And he never had a chance to counter offer the Dodgers matching that contract. It's interesting when you look at the three teams involved, and the Yankees' offer too. They're offering 10 years for $300 million, a higher AAV, but shorter years. So like I said, this whole situation was a mess. The false reporting from Martino, Heyman, Morosi, etc. has been an absolute nightmare as well. Hate that. I've been going on and on and on about it. But like I said, it's something to be said for this saga is now over. Onward we move. And Nelson, do you have anything to tack on in terms of Yamamoto? Because this is a sour subject right now, understandably so, amongst the Mets fan base.
I mean, there's not much to add. Like, it's what Keith said. Like, this feels like it was planned like a long time ago. It sucks that we kind of turned a blind eye to what was going on right in front of us, but it is what it is. Like, it didn't just happen to us; happened to the Yankees too. I mean, not that that's much consolation, but we weren't the only ones looking like idiots. Like you said, he didn't even come back to the Mets to let them counter. So it's like people are blaming Cohen, but like we didn't have a chance. Once he took our offer to the Dodgers and they matched, he accepted. Like, we had no opportunity to go over. What did you want? And it didn't matter what number the initial number was. It could have been $400 million. The Dodgers were still going to get the chance. And because of what Ohtani did with his freaking contract, they were still going to match it. So it didn't matter. Like, did you want to offer this guy $500 million? Like, no, this is not a Hall of Fame pitcher. He's never pitched in the majors. I know. Listen, this guy looks great. Keith was the first one on this dude that I can recall. Like, he was all over this guy from when
makes me sad.
Like, I started watching videos on this dude and I fell in love with him too. And he might be a great pitcher, but he might not. He's coming here. He's got to make the same adjustments Senga made. It doesn't work out for everybody.
You're right.
So for everybody to act like this dude is Pedro Martinez, like, let's slow the hell down. Like, it sucks. We would have loved to sign him, but there's no guarantees with any of this. So This kid, he might be an all-star. He might be a Hall of Famer one day. He might not be. He might be trash. He might be freaking Tyler McGill. We don't know. So, obviously, I'm with Keith. I'm hoping for the Dodgers' downfall. I'm hoping for the worst. I hope Shohei never pitches a game again in his life. It is what it is, but
amen.
We just got to move forward and worry about the Mets at this point and go from there.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. Just absolutely spitting there. There's about 30 people in the chat right now watching this video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to all 3 of our channels here. The links are in the description below. I definitely appreciate that. We got Stevie Mac in the house. Just wait until next offseason because Cohen is about to go nuclear. As I'm running through these comments, if you all want to address anything, feel free to. We got Carlos in the chat saying this was out of Cohen's hands. He did everything he could. Now we just pivot and keep going. Don't have any expectations in 2024. It's a transition year, but it will make us better in 2025. Hashtag Burns and Soto. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting topic of conversation moving forward. AP in the chat. Shout out AP. If we drop the comments, would we consider them Beatties? Yeah, absolutely. Beatty does have some dropping issues.
I'm weak.
Easy. I appreciate Cohen, but I do wonder what could have happened if he offered 360 over 12. The same offer as the Dodgers, not good enough. And Keith, like you said, if Cohen kept on going up, the Dodgers were just going to match that. They have cap flexibility with that deferred contract with Ohtani, and I think that's exactly what they would have done. To be honest with you,
I couldn't agree more. I also think that as much as I love this dude, everyone has a price. And everyone is marketed a certain specific way, rightfully so. And he is an international player, but you can't, I was talking about this earlier, and this kind of goes along with the Yankee fan base. If there's anyone here who roots for the Yankees, they did a thing where they gave him higher AAV, but they stopped at $300 million. And we all know that they want to pay Soto, whatever. If they can, cool. If they can't, whatever, better for us. Point is that it sends a crazy message to give this guy a bigger contract than the American League Cy Young Award winning pitcher that they have, that they gave a lot of money to just recently, right? We signed this guy. We give him close to what we gave Francisco Lindor, who has been amazing for us. And along with the fact that we haven't even opened up severe contract negotiations with our first base player, you know what I'm saying? And regardless, what do you think Pete is worth, whatever, that's a whole nother topic. But it sends a very big message to, everyone in that clubhouse. Damn, yo, I've been busting my ass for you guys. I've been doing everything I can for y'all. And he's going to get paid more than me. And he ain't been here no more than 5 minutes, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not I love Lindor and I love Pete Alonso, but I know there's better players than them. But those are my players. Those are your players. Those are Amish's players. We got to send some respect to those guys. We can't just if we would have brought in Ohtani, all right. I can see the logic in that. That guy's walking to the Hall of Fame, right? I get it. He's been in the MLB for about 6-7 years now. Respectfully, Yamamoto, look, again, was a big fan of him early on, but he pulls up to Citi Field making more than anybody else on the team, and that shit don't go well. We will forever be the LOL Mets. You know what I'm saying? So respect to Cohen. He did everything he could. I hate the fact that he opened up his private home for this man and he ate food on his table and he left and he did that shit to Steve Cohen. Regardless of what you think to Steve Cohen, to me, on a man-to-man shit, you introducing this man to you. This man flew to Japan, bro. You know what I'm saying? That shit, he did everything he possibly, that to me leaves a sour taste in my mind. For me, I don't really know what Cohen's going to do. I can't predict it. Everyone thinks he's going to go nuclear. If he doesn't, he does. If he doesn't, whatever. The point that I want to make is that I hope the Mets somewhere down the line beat the living piss out of the Dodgers just for Steve Cohen, because what they did to the Mets organization, to me, it was worse than whatever the Yankees went through, because the Yankees printed a fake jersey thinking they were to get him out of arrogance, and boo-hoo to them. He's using the number 18 jersey right now, for a scarf in LA, because he probably cold because he never been to LA before. But the point is, the Mets got completely shitted on, and I'm tired of the Mets getting shitted on, bro. I'm so ready for the Mets to get their shit together and everyone can just they can't say nothing. Because if this guy would have been signed by the Mets, and they would have gave him 320, whatever. I guarantee you, the first time this guy would have struggled, it would have been, oh, LOL Mets, LOL. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we never win. So you know what? We're gonna go this baseball route, this true baseball thinking, forward thinking type of thing. Let David Stearns cook, and we see where we go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not have said it better myself. I mean, the Mets did get, done dirty, but at the end of the day, we got to move on. John's saying definitely kind of waiting for Cohen to react. I think Stearns has a calming influence on him right now. That's an interesting comment because, like, I really do wonder when it comes to these negotiations. Obviously, Steve Cohen's opening up his checkbook, but what is that working relationship with David Stearns taking over that president of baseball operations? We'll never know, but it's sort of an interesting to kind of think about in the back of your head if you're a Mets fan. We got Patty saying, agreeing with you, Keith. This is all pre-planned. Absolutely. Cohen had done this. The MLB would be up in arms. Absolutely, Jay. Absolutely. Second, Cohen tries to defer any decent-sized contract. The MLB will try to ban it. Yeah, man, I agree with the chat. Absolutely. We got Edge in the house, too. Chanho Park equals Yamamoto. Shout out, Edge. Appreciate you tuning into the stream, man. We got Chris Torres in the house.
Yeah,
sharing his thoughts and opinions on the Dodgers.
Absolutely. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I hope Alex saw this coming and spit in this dude's food. I really I hope she just
Alex has the shoot
spit all over that dude's like this dude. He made her cook. She opened up her home. Like you said it great, Keith, in your live earlier. Like she could have been chilling, and she had to waste her time with this bum. Like, come on. It upsets me more for her. Like, I love that. She's like all of our aunt. Like, man, screw that. Like,
isn't there like an ongoing story? My fault. Like, there's like a story about her dad. He's a big Met fan, and he wants the Mets to win. Like, and he's like older. He's very up there in age. Like, I'm pretty sure he might have been there, and he probably was like, "Oh yeah, come to them." It's just trash, man.
It is. Yeah, I think he is. He's been at multiple games I see in their family pictures too. So we got Tone in the chat. What up, Tone? Have we started talking about third base yet? Shout out Tone. Appreciate you tuning in. And John already knows the deal with Tone. He says, "Let me guess, Chapman." LOL.
Everybody knows Tone.
Let's get it. Sign him up. Let's go.
Absolutely. At this point, we got to start talking about that. Let's see. Like I said, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the saga's over. He's crossed out in red. He's no longer a factor. So where do the Mets move and pivot to here? You know what I mean? Get out the door. Where do the Mets pivot to here? And I know you're talking about this on your stream earlier today, Keith, and we're talking about basically the most likely versus what we would do, right? And the most likely, and if you guys do not subscribe to Subway to Shea, he had Will Salmon on his live stream today. Absolutely huge. And the sort of perspective that I was getting from Will Salmon is that the Mets really aren't in any sort of spot in terms of their mind to offer anybody long-term contracts north of 4 years this offseason. That's sort of the vibe that he's getting. And honestly, at this point, to sort of see the Mets and go about this offseason, I'm getting that same sort of feeling. I did not think at the beginning of the offseason that was going to be the case. Obviously, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and that offer is an exception, but anybody else, especially on this list, it remains to be seen if the Mets really are going to go for a multi-year deal for anybody here. If I had to pick anybody on this list that would be perfect for the Mets moving forward, it would be a 4 to 5 year deal for Shota Imanaga. I know I get the fastball velocity is a concern for you, Keith, but he's a very crafty left-hander. And I was actually watching some highlights of Shota Imanaga before we got onto the stream. His mechanics and his delivery are so sound, and he has insane run and vertical drop on that fastball. So, like I said, that would be my preferred pivot point, just because you don't have to go those 6 or 7 years like you probably would for Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery, and it'd be cheaper AAV. Sort of similar to a Kodai Senga type deal, but I think that the market and the way that it's shaping out, Shota Imanaga is going to be closer to that maybe $90 million mark in comparison to what Kodai Senga got for $75 million. The market's just changing, inflation, all that good stuff, So where do you assess this market? Because, like, Michael Lorenzen and Lucas Giolito on short-term deals are certainly an option, right? But do us as Mets fans really want to see that? And I'm going to say hell no to that. I don't want to see Michael Lorenzen in a Mets uniform. I don't want to see Lucas Giolito in a Mets uniform. Lucas Giolito is a guy is not, all-star Lucas Giolito anymore. He's not what he was before. And if you want to use 2024 as a bridge year, that might be the play. But I think it would be a real disappointment across the Mets fan base if that was the play for 2024. So, in your opinion, where do the Mets go from here? Because you see the starting pitching market, it's sparse right now. I was a big fan of Eduardo Rodriguez. I think he would have been the perfect play in the front end of the offseason, willing to sign early, and that would have left this starting rotation flexible to wait for Yamamoto and then pivot, already having Erod in the door. They chose not to. For one reason or another, he went to the Diamondbacks. It is what it is. Outside of the trade market, realistically in free agency, do you think the Mets pony up 6 to 7 years for Montgomery or Snell? Or do you really think they're going to go that bottom route with Lorenzen and Giolito?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm a big fan of Jordan Montgomery. I'm a big fan of Blake Snell on a personal level. But I don't want to be the team to give them the contracts that are being handed out this winter. I do know that contracts are only going to go up, but I don't want to be the team to pay Blake Snell 200 plus mil. It's probably going to get 200 plus mil. Montgomery, cool. I have a lot of respect for Montgomery. I actually wanted him at the deadline before we kind of really hit a wall. And I know he had a little bit of a shoulder thing, but we're talking about he's probably going to get anywhere near where Aaron Nola made, and I don't think I'm comfortable with that right now, being that we don't have a number one. And personally, and I love Senga. But he's not the number one in my eyes. As for Shotei Managa, personally, there's no other way to put it. I only want one Japanese player on my team. The only one that want to be here. That's how I feel. After what just happened this past month or two, I'm good with the guy who came here a year ago and was here when shit was bad. If Managa want to come, cool. But he's second fiddle. You know what I'm saying? Don't disrespect my Ghost Fork guy. You know what I'm saying? As for the Mets point of view, usually the Mets do things that piss us off. So they're probably going to sign Lucas Giolito. It's probably going to be a 2-year deal with a player option or a team option after one. He's probably going to be a prove-it deal because most of the deals that, David Stearns is doing right now is reclamations, getting guys back to what they could be or what they were. And at the end of the day, it seems like the pattern is going down that route. And I think that he's going to use the pitching lab to help fix whatever's been going on with Lucas Giolito. The thing about Michael Lorenzen, I actually think Michael Lorenzen is probably going to be a bullpen kind of guy. But for me, Giolito, the worry about Giolito for me is that his innings, he's going to hit a very big wall. So I don't know how a pitching lab can prevent a lot of tread on those tires. If you look at Giolito's innings, it's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? For a guy who struggled last year, he shouldn't have been pitching that much. It should have scaled him back, and he pitched on 3 different teams last year. So I think personally, it's probably going to be somewhere around. It might be. I think your best bet is number 6. I actually think on your list, it's going to be a trade. If it's not a trade, it's probably going to be Giolito, and I know no one wants that. I don't, but the Mets are playing those cards very close to their hands. If I had to trade for a pitcher, I've been very open about going after Jose Berrios. I know he's not a fan favorite for a lot of people, but I'm a big Jose Berrios guy. But hopefully we're all wrong and they go get something that we don't even see.
Absolutely. Nelson, what you got?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, I hate to echo exactly what he's saying, but it's the truth. Jordan Montgomery, I actually very much love, but I said it going back to before the season ended. This dude, while we were still in the playoffs, this dude was pitching himself into a contract that he's not worth.
Oh yeah,
and that's the bottom line. I like him, but he's just not worth 6 or 7 years and almost $200 million. So would I be mad if they pivot to him? No, but I don't love giving him that kind of money. Blake Snell, on the other hand, I don't like. I never liked him. I don't like the whole I win a Cy Young and then I go back to being very mid. I'm not that. So if he has that drop off again, we're paying him ace money to be a third or fourth starter, like, I'll pass on that. And it's a lot of years too, man. I'm with that line of thinking. Like, if Stearns is trying to keep these contracts short, other than obviously Yamamoto, you were giving him whatever he wanted. He didn't come here, whatever. But other than that, I'm with keeping these contracts short for pitchers. They're too volatile. They get hurt too much.
Yeah,
you can't trust these dudes. Shota, not in love with him, but I like him on the right. I'm not into getting into a bidding war for this guy.
Amen. Amen.
If he's getting offers from the Yankees and Phillies and God knows who else, then pass, because we're just no sense in getting into that battle. Like, I don't want to do this again. They wouldn't be on the same level, but I don't want to play this game again with another Japanese dude. Like, I'm good. Lorenzen, like he said, probably he's more of a like swingman type, which technically we got a few of those. Giolito, I don't like Giolito, but I can also see it happening. It does make some sense as long as you keep it to a year or two. Don't give this guy 3 or 4 years, for the love of God. That will piss me off. I'm not with that at all. And to me, same thing. Trade market, I think really that's the way to go. I know he said he doesn't want to give up prospects, but listen, he gave up one prospect for 2 very serviceable pieces in Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor, which we'll talk about. But like, if he can find more deals like that, if he can get rid of like mid prospects that maybe Billy Epler brought in that he's not in love with, and he can actually get a decent starter for him, then I'm with it. I really do think we're going to get a move that none of us see coming. It's going to be out of the left field, and we're going to be like, whoa, okay. Who knows? I don't know if that's going to be for an ace. I don't know if that's going to be for a mid-tier guy. But he's obviously going to do more. He's not going to just go into the year with this rotation. Like, he can't.
I have a feeling he's going to do that with the Astros, bro.
I'm down.
I got a weird feeling he's gonna because he used to work there like early before Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys he found in the international pools and all that shit. I can see him plucking either like Garcia or Urquidy and flipping one of the lower end prospects for one of those guys. I really think so. Something like that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm down for that play too.
I like that. Listen, he's a smart man. Like, I know people are giving him grief and they're upset with him right now. I mean, I don't really think there's anything he could have done different at this point. Like, we obviously Ohtani wasn't coming here. We couldn't make that Soto trade. We didn't have what the Padres wanted. So what did he really miss on? Yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez could have been a good signing, but this guy really hasn't done anything outrageous. If anything, that Hauser and Tyrone Taylor deal, I actually really like.
Me too.
I really like the bullpen pieces he's brought in, even though
me too.
They're all reclamation projects, but they all have potential. And I've said it time and time again, these bullpen guys, 1 year they're great, another year they freaking suck. So hopefully 1 or 2 of these guys have their all-star year this year. So
if you fix the bullpen, then the rotation is gonna be a lot in better hands. You know what I'm saying? Because last year, like, there was so many weird moments with the rotation and the bullpen. Like, one time, like, there'd be times the first inning started and we give up 4 runs. Or then the one time we actually would get off to a really good start and pitch like 4 or 5 shutout innings, and here comes Drew Smith and giving us all like, you know, a heart attack and shit. So
yeah,
I agree with everything else.
Meatballs is still on the team, but
hopefully he's part of the trade.
Oh yeah, hopefully he's part of the trade.
Can I just say something about David Stearns that no one's talking about?
Go ahead.
Why does he look like Ryan Braun?
He does, like, man. He does.
Is this not Ryan Braun like with a suit on? I'm starting to wonder. I don't know. Have you seen Ryan Braun and David Stearns in the same room? Anyone in the chat?
I ain't seen it.
Let me know. I think it's Ryan Braun is our president of baseball operations.
Absolutely, that's a great point. And I agree with you, man. I think the trade market, though, on a different note here, I think the trade market is one that the Mets definitely are going to explore. They almost have to in order to get this rotation to where they want to go and be at before 2024. Nelson, 100%. A trade probably is incoming that we aren't seeing at all, and we're not going to even be talking about. I would say call up the White Sox, see if you can get Dylan Cease in a cheap deal. I know Dylan Cease and cheap is not going to come hand in hand, and those don't go together because he's a higher end guy, in my opinion. Now he had a struggle season in 2023, but had good numbers in
Love that dude.
2022. I think that's a guy that can definitely play as your number 2 behind Senga with the stuff that he has, and that's what I would like. But I know the Braves of all teams are also in on Dylan Cease, and I won't go down that rabbit hole, but you know what I mean? It's something that different teams are going to be looking to pivot now with this pitching market starting to shrink. So Tone says just sign Giolito, say a Hail Mary. I don't know what other route they take. Tone, man, I agree with you. Like you're saying, it's the options and the different routes that the Mets can go is getting very thin here. So David Stearns has to be on, extra time, overtime, to sort of earn that contract he's getting and get this team in the right situation. So, like I said, over 40 people in the chat. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I just reached 300 plus subs on the channel. Get Shea N Sons to 200 plus. They're inching closer. And Nelson, get them to 350 plus. All hitting milestones here. Definitely appreciate the support. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. This has been awesome to do. Shout out the chat. Mets Talk with Hayden. Check out his channel also in the chat. Mets must find a good way to pivot. Confidence level for him is very low right now. It'll be okay. I promise you. The Mets are going to be fine. Like I said, it's one step at a time here in addressing the situation. Depressed Mr. Mets says, I hope the Mets beat the living shit out of the Dodgers for Steve Cohen. Absolutely, man.
Love that.
All 3 of us up here, and I think everybody in the chat, if you're a Mets fan, should be praying for the Dodgers' downfall. I certainly will be. I've never liked the Dodgers from the start.
Chris,
so,
Chris,
let's see here. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't run this by anybody, so you please don't get too mad at me. It's my birthday, so give me a pass, or day after, whatever. I'm still drinking. I'll play a little something for the vibe. So just bear with me.
Oh, go.
To the window, to the wall, till the sweat drops down my balls. Until all these bitches crawl. Skeet, skeet, goddamn. Getting crunk in the club she's working. I like to see them females twerking. Taking their clothes off, buck and naked. ATL ho, don't disrespect it.
Wow. Wow. Jaw dropped. I was in tears just now. What? Once I heard sweat on your balls, I said, what's happening right now, bro?
Oh my God. Yo, that definitely did not get run by me, but I'm glad that you did it, Nelson. I hope that you're celebrating your birthday in the best fashion as possible. That is something that you get on the Interstate Mets Report After Dark.
Amazing.
It started with
Love
Matt
that.
from Flushing Sunny.
Yeah,
that
episode got wild. I felt we needed a little something to spice it up. So
that was awesome, dude. That was really good.
Absolutely. In terms of trades, the chat is going off here. Drifter says Valdez ? I highly doubt it. But we can hope and we can dream. Ibby says Uriquity. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not sure, but anyways, he's decent.
I'll
take
probably
him.
saying it wrong too.
Yeah, I don't know. Edge, man, Fromber. Listen, I would love it. I just don't think that's gonna happen. Javier, maybe a little bit more realistic option. Like Ethan's saying here. So we'll see. We'll see about that. In terms of the bullpen,
they gave him an extension.
What was that?
They gave him an
extension. They did?
Okay.
Yeah, so I got it. Was not aware of that.
No, you could.
We'll talk about the bullpen market, but he loves Jordan Hicks and apparently David Robertson too. So we'll talk about that. Absolutely. Yo, we got the chat popping off. We got Schlau in the chat here with the fire emojis. Appreciate you tuning in. We got Tone loving the content with the impromptu song. Matt's loving it. Tone's loving it, or Chris Torres is loving it. Man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. This is great. Jay's loving it. Shout out the chat. Everyone subscribe. You got a happy birthday here too, Nelson. So big happy birthday to you. Hope you're celebrating in the best possible fashion. Always a pleasure to do these streams with you, buddy. And this is a good comment. Wilfredo here is talking about, no one's talking about Mike Vassell that's pitching in the minors and could be ready to pitch for the Mets in 2024 and beyond. I know that when you talk about Mike Vassell, a lot of people are kind of iffy on him. He didn't look great, but he's serviceable. You got to give him a chance, and we'll see that in spring training, man. Listen, I don't know, man. Mike Vassell is an option that you can definitely deploy in the back end of the rotation, but with the way this rotation is filling out right now, you have a question mark in Severino. You don't have the surest thing in Adrian Hauser, even though he's a good depth add. He's not the surest thing, right? 4.12 ERA last season. You have Quintana. We don't know what we're going to get from him. And you have 2 open rotation spots. So I don't know if relying on Mike Vassell is the best option here, but he definitely will get a shot to compete for that rotation. So I'm not sure if you all have anything else in terms of the Mets pivot points. I think for me, if you can find him on a cheap deal, maybe not into the 100 millions for Imanaga, but because certainly the Yankees are going to be at play there too, having missed out on Yamamoto. You don't want to get into a bidding war, like you said, for Imanaga. If the contract is feasible and he wants to become a Met to pitch behind Kodai Senga, great, I'll take him. But if he doesn't, he gets too pricey, we'll figure it out elsewhere. That's my kind of line of thinking right now. I'm not sure if you gents have anything to close out with here on the starting pitchers before we talk about some stuff that the Mets actually did. We can't talk about hypotheticals anymore because they actually made some trades that we can talk about. So let's move on into that, unless you have anything on the starting pitching market as it pertains to this rotation. Keith?
So the Mike Vassell comment, he's gotta earn his spot. Let's just put it like that.
Sure.
He's gotta earn it. And it's nice to have prospects, but if he can perform well in AAA, which he kind of struggled towards the end, his fastball lost velocity, then we'll discuss. But he has to earn it. I don't want to just call up kids just because we're pivoting or anything. Don't put these kids in spots where they can fail and then tell me, oh, the only way they're going to learn is they play. Well, you don't put them in spots to fail either. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Let him show you he's ready, and then we call him up.
I'm going to make a bold prediction, I guess you would call it.
If it's a bold as my Yamamoto to the Mets last night, then we don't want to hear it.
I wish I would have been there last night now to shut you down on that shit, because that now I'm upset. But no, I would argue that Christian Scott will make a bigger impact on the 2024 Mets than Mike Vassell will.
I concur. I don't think that's a stretch, brother. I think he's the best pitcher we have in the farm. I don't even think it's close, respectfully.
It's not close.
Nope.
I do like Blade Tidwell as well, but he's just not
going
to be ready for 2024.
I like him more than Vassell, too.
Yep, absolutely.
Me too.
We'll talk about Yariel Rodriguez. Everyone's talking about whether he's going to be a starter or a bullpen guy in the MLB. I put him in the bullpen market, but I know he's drawing some interest from Toronto. We'll talk about him. I know he's your guy, Keith, so I'll let you go in on Yariel Rodriguez. We got Stoney in the chat. Merry Christmas, Chris and Nelson. At least you guys read everyone's comments and you don't skip them. Yeah, like I said, we love interacting with you all. We love hearing your thoughts and opinions as viewers. And we love hearing you guys sometimes check us. If some of our opinions you don't like, feel free to comment your own, and we'll have them up here, prop them up, and have a discussion. So let's get into some of the trades here. And Merry Christmas to you, Stoney, by the way, as well. Let's get into some of the more recent moves the Mets have actually made here. Let's talk about some trades. The Mets acquired, obviously, right-handed pitcher Adrian Hauser and outfielder Tyrone Taylor from the Milwaukee Brewers, and as well as relief pitcher Yohan Ramirez from the White Sox. I believe Yohan Ramirez was for cash considerations, and obviously Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor coming over for right-handed pitching prospect Coleman Crow. I'm not sure how you all assess these trades. I think Adrian Hauser and Tyrone Taylor will have a large impact on the 2024 New York Mets with the way this roster is shaking out so far. I think it was a great addition to fill in the back end of those respective position groups. And the Mets have been tied to Michael A. Taylor for a long time. I think Tyrone Taylor is basically a spitting image in terms of being a ball player that Michael A. Taylor is. And I do think that the Mets are out now on Michael A. Taylor with the addition of Tyrone Taylor. So, Keith, I'm going to start with you here. What do you assess? What are your takeaways here of these trades? How do you kind of grade them? And to be honest with you, I'm shocked, and we didn't see this trade coming with the Brewers. I'm shocked they made a trade with the Brewers. A lot of people speculating what the relationship would be like with the Milwaukee Brewers moving forward with the whole David Stern situation. Everyone's talking about Corbin Burns. I don't think the Mets are going to go after Burns this offseason because they've said that they're not going to trade prospects for a rental. He is a free agent in 2025, and I'd like the Mets to sign him in 2025. But what is your assessment of these guys on the board right now coming over to Queens?
Well, got a little bit of a leg up on them due to that fabulous game made by San Diego Studios MLB The Show 2023. Yohan has this typical stuff that every other reliever that David Stearns has been targeting: sweeper, slurve, slider, however you want to combine the name or the style of pitch. And he's throwing a sinker or a fastball. He's throwing it away from the batter and he's jamming you inside. So kind of like the breadcrumbs of whatever it goes on in this pitching lab. I'm also, positive, other things we have no ideas going on in that pitching lab, but it seems like that's what he's working with. Those are the guys he's targeting, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he wants to work with. So cool. Nelson says it all the time. Throw stick on the wall, see if it sticks with the bullpen. And I believe that. I actually think that's more accurate than you may think. You know what I'm saying? It's not very often many bullpens go like back to back years where they're very consistent. Stoney, it's all good, brother. Don't worry. We'll have another one. No worries, Stoney. All the best. Merry Christmas. As for Tyrone Taylor and Adrian Hauser, look, they're there to fill holes. I believe Taylor's a bench piece personally. I don't think he's an everyday player. He'd be a great pinch hit, sort of platoon kind of guy. I would like an everyday outfielder personally. I hope we do go out and get an everyday outfielder. Nothing too crazy along the lines of the 2-3 year mix or whatever, however they want to, define their window. As for Hauser, I mean, I've said this many times. I like till I'm blue in the face. My baseline is: are you better than Tyler McGill? If you are a leg up on Tyler McGill, you can pitch for the New York Mets. So I can't kill him if he's not that good. I looked at his resume. It's nothing to scream at. It has a lot of McGill to it, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. So I actually look forward to see if McGill can outpitch Hauser to me. You know what I'm saying? So maybe there could be something there. But yeah, look, these are depth pieces. This is kind of like just filling in a lot of like solid holes with a lot of high reward value to it. You know what I'm saying? These are value pieces. We didn't give up much. Shout out cash considerations every year, always valuable. And Coleman Crow, like, does anybody, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one gives a shit about Coleman Crow, so that's pretty much really it. I mean, I'm glad that this trade happened so sudden and we didn't know what was going on. So that means that they were also in the midst of a bidding war and also doing something also on the other back end of things. So I think that's something that gets overlooked with the New York Mets front office. Everyone's killing them because they didn't get a guy for a lot of money. But if you really, really take a sit back and kind of sleep on things, they're making moves, they're making trades, and they were also in a huge bidding war that the entire league almost was in or paid attention to. David Stearns is able to do about two things at once. So I appreciate that. But we have to, the product is the product. We got to see it on the field.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And like I said, David Stearns seems to have a plan and he's sticking to it, right? Especially with these bullpen additions. You said those guys with great movement on those breaking balls, those sweepers, those sliders. Yohan Ramirez is no exception. You take a look at a guy like Adams, no exception. Kyle Crick. The list goes on and on about the Mets relief additions so far this offseason and the sort of plan that they have relating to their pitch arsenal, I would say. Adrian Hauser, also, like I said, nothing to write home about. 91 to 93 on his fastball, a ground ball type of pitcher. So Brett Beatty, if he's starting at third base, better be ready when Adrian Hauser's on the mound. That's all I'm going to say.
Great point. Great point.
If Hauser's on the mound. And then Tyrone Taylor, like, I like his pop. The driving factor for Mets fans that, I've been talking to and I sort of alluded to in my video on Michael A. Taylor earlier was his pop. Tyrone Taylor adds that pop for you as well. Hit 17 home runs in 2022, only 10 home runs, but in just 81 games in 2023. Plays a great outfield. His arm strength, the baseball savant metrics on his arm strength from the outfield is great. So, like you said, not an everyday starter. The Mets do need an everyday left fielder, I would probably think, moving forward, because Tyrone Taylor is just not a starting player in the MLB. But like you're mentioning, Keith, for Coleman Crow and the value that you got, or you gave up for Coleman Crow to get him from the Angels and Eduardo Escobar versus who's coming back to you from the Brewers is a win. And I would not discount more prospects being flipped that the Mets acquired at the deadline for moves like this. I love Drew Gilbert. I love Luis Angel Acuna. I love them. Do they trade those guys this offseason? I don't see it. But those guys also can be trade pieces in the future. Like, I know that the tune that I sing on here, this is my opinion. I'm not a prospect hugger. If there's a great guy out there that you can trade for, you go into your farm system, you dip a little bit, and you trade for them. So we'll monitor that situation. Nelson, what you got on these trades? What are you thinking with these guys? Here on your screen.
5 minutes.
Shout out Eddie.
Shout out Escobar. Like you guys said, we got Mr. Crow for him. Listen, these aren't the kind of trades that make headlines, but these are the kind of trades that if you want to build a winning team, you need to be able to make. These are the kind of like moves that everybody overlooks, but then next thing you know, maybe Adrian Hauser has got a ERA in the high threes and has won you 10 to 15 games. It's a possibility. He's not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe Tyrone Taylor's driving in a big game-winning run as a pinch hitter. He plays good defense. Like I like these moves. Yohan Ramirez, who knows if he even makes the team, but it's the kind of guy that I like taking a flyer on. Like, obviously Stearns and his analytic people and everybody else, they have targeted guys with high velocity and the slider sweeper combo thing that's going on. They saw something. They see some sort of market instability or whatever. They're doing their own money ball thing, which is fine. I hope it works. But these are the kind of things that the fans that aren't – listen, it's not going to make fans happy. Like, a lot of fans, not everybody, but I get it. Fans want the big moves. Fans want the big names. It'll come eventually. Is it going to come this offseason? Maybe not. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm good with it. Like, I hope we get more of these deals that come out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, okay. I see what you're doing. I like what you're cooking, Mr. Stearns. It's not you're off for. I mean, you don't got to worry about Christmas, Mr. Stearns. You can work through the holiday. That ain't your holiday, bro. You can do Christmas Eve, Christmas. You can be cooking while everybody else is taking a vacation. So
baklava.
Let's see what happens. He's gonna be having Chinese food in the city while everybody else is doing opening Christmas presents. So, like, shout out him. Yeah, man, I have no issue. Oh, I just saw this Bauer. I don't want to get into Trevor. I really don't think that Trevor Bauer is ever getting a contract for them. I don't think he's getting a contract from anybody, to be honest. I think that bridge has been burned. MLB's, when they decide a guy is like, for lack of a better word, pedazo de mierda, a piece of shit, like he's a piece of shit, you're kind of like blackballed. And I feel like that kind of is going on with Bauer. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't.
John Boy will sign him. Don't worry. John Boy will sign him.
John Boy. Yeah. He will be probably one of those guys at some point that
we took the bait. We took the bait.
Take that bait all day. I don't care. But yeah, it's whatever. But yeah, I mean, the trades, I have no issues with any of that. Like, bring me more. I want to see more. I want to see more trades.
There's something about the bullpen pieces, though, I want to just bring up. I did speak to a good friend of mine who, he kind of gives me a good insight about how things are done, like on an analytic scale of things. And he mentioned to me, he was like, last year, a lot of our pitchers, like, we had a really bad time locating our fastball, locating breaking pitches. A lot of the time, they were always over the plate. So I'm talking to my buddy, and he's telling me, he's like, "Look, listen, you get a good group of guys who are like really good at slider sweeper combos like that. If you look at Citi Field, right? If you're able to like really throw those away from the majority of hitters in baseball right-handed, right? If you're able to get that pitch away from the hitter, you're going to be able to use Citi Field to your advantage, okay? You're really going to be able to use that slider sweeper, ground ball, maybe pop up or anything like that. Now, obviously, location matters because if you hang it over the plate, it's going to go very far. But, you know, he said we didn't have a lot of those guys last year. You know, we don't see these sort of things when we're watching the Mets. You know what I'm saying? We don't, you know, now we're seeing it because we have a president who's thinking like this, you know? So you got a guy who was able to use the ballpark to his advantage. It's like a factor that we never really think about, you know, and I actually saw the vision with that. So, you know, I actually haven't really been upset with any of the bullpen pieces, to be quiet. I do want one more like flamethrower. I know there was a gentleman here who said Hicks. Hey, sign me up. I'm cool with that. I love Jordan Hicks too. I love what he can be too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. He projects as a very good pitcher moving forward. He's had some injury issues and some location issues, but I think that he's going to get a bag. We'll talk about this bullpen market here before we get into that. We got over 40 people in the chat. Keith, I'm not sure if you're aware. I just looked at your channel. You're at 200 subscribers. So,
oh shit, yo,
congrats to you.
Thank you. Shout out the bots. You guys helped a lot. Shout out.
Absolutely.
Shout out everybody, man. That's pretty cool, man. It's a lot of hard work. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it's a lot of work that goes, a lot of thinking, man. A
lot of effort goes into these videos. So behind the I hope everyone appreciate that.
Thank you, though, for letting me know.
Yo, on Jordan Hicks, real quick. I think the Cardinals really screwed that dude.
Oh, man. Hell yeah. They want him as a starter, right?
Yeah, that starting pitcher crap and then moving him back and forth. Like, man, put him in one role and let him cook. I hate when teams do that. The Mets do
Jamba Chamberlain shit.
Just give him a role and let him roll with it. Like, I hate when teams do that. Like, they screwed this dude because if this dude was as good as his potential and he had already lived up, like he could have got a big contract this year.
I agree.
He might get still decent money, but he ain't gonna get the kind of money that he could have got if they had just let the man do his thing either as a closer or just if you're gonna start him, let him start, let him grow through the growing pains and figure it out. But don't bounce him back and forth. That's garbage, man.
I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we'll get into the bullpen here in a second. Some comments just to shoot them off. We want to read all the comments here as much as we can. Monitor Seattle situation. They have a cheap owner and uncertain TV deal. See what they want. They have a couple of pitchers to offer up as well. So I highly agree with that, Drifter. The Mariners are going to be active in the trade market if I had to assume this offseason. Carlos, man, you're preaching to the choir here. Drew Gilbert is my favorite prospect. I don't want the Mets to part ways with him, but at the end of the day, like I said, I can't hug and hold on to any prospects if there's just an absolute nice deal on a star player waiting to happen if you're the New York Mets. But I agree with you. Drew Gilbert was a great get in that Verlander going back to Houston, situation at the deadline. He's going to be a great outfielder. He has all the tools to be a 5-tool player. That's what I'll say. I don't know.
Real quick, what's funny? I found out like they hit me. They didn't put him on the 40-man yet.
Yeah, I did see your video on that too, or your tweets about that.
Yep. Very interesting, right? Makes you think, right?
That is interesting. I don't know. We'll see.
It just makes you think, I don't know, but it just makes you think. I mean, they put Acuna on the 40-man, but I don't know.
Thanks. Dishlau, I can watch you three talk all night. I appreciate you. I hope everyone feels the same way, man. We got a good little crew here. Cohen needs to sign Bauer and Flex's FU money. I mean, I don't know, Nelson. I know you're you don't think that Bauer is going to get back into MLB. I don't want him on the Mets whatsoever. I do think that someone will sign him. Whether he's deserving of that, I don't think so. Like you said, all those allegations, et cetera, however they played out, we're not going to talk about that. But I think he finds his way back to the MLB. It's just not going to be with the Mets, and I don't want it to be with the Mets. So let's see here. Patty is saying, I love our Mets podcasters. Collabs are fabulous. Good job, fellas. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate you. Always tuning in. Definitely appreciate you. And yeah, like I said, George Kirby is one of the names to look out for in Seattle too. Absolutely. So let's talk about the bullpen. Let's talk about some free agents available in the bullpen. Obviously, I had to put Josh Hader in here because he is 1A in terms of just being available. He has a qualifying offer attached. Edwin Diaz is the closer. Understand that the Mets are not going to offer him, that high value AAV that he's going to want. So let's just pretty much knock him off the list, but you got to put him in here if you're talking about relievers on the market. Hector Neris is a guy that I like. I get the hesitancy of Mets fans due to his days in Philly, but I do think he fixed it in Houston for one reason or another, whether it's the pitching lab or whatnot. He's been a dominant reliever over there in Houston. To set up Edwin Diaz in the 8th inning, I would love a Hector Neris. Jordan Hicks, another option, flamethrower. Gotta fix the walk rate, gotta fix the command, but his stuff plays absolutely. And right here, like we can go down the list here. I think all of these guys on this list, I would take a flyer on. I would not be mad if the Mets signed anybody on this list, including Aaron Loop. Although I don't think it's more likely now that I pretty much see Lucchesi slotting into that bullpen type role with Adrian Hauser coming in, but you never know how the Mets are viewing him. So, Keith, what are you thinking in terms of the bullpen market?
If I had the powers that David Stearns have, that number 4 would be signed already. I love that guy's hitting 97, 98. He has an amazing breaking pitch. He can be a swing man. He can start. He can set up Edwin D. The guy can do so many things for this ball club. And that's why I've been saying he was number 2 on my list from the day free agency started. It was Yamamoto and it was Yariel Rodriguez. But I never get what I want, so we're not going to get him. I never get what I want. Sure. So we're probably, if I had to pick somebody on this list other than him that I would want the Mets to engage in conversations with, I would personally, this might sound crazy, I actually go with number 9, Robert Stevenson, because Robert Stevenson in the past has actually started some games. He's actually done the swingman role too. So I do like that about him. Jordan Hicks, to me, he might have the best like value day one for the Mets. Like just slot him in and he'll fit right in. I just think his market is going to go crazy the second Josh Hader signs. I feel like either Josh Hader or Jordan Hicks will be a Dodger. And I mean that. One of those two guys will be a Dodger, which sucks. Hopefully, like they have the shittiest year of their careers. And then the next guy is going to benefit from the Boston Red Sox, Yankees, even the Baltimore Orioles, or something like that. That next guy to fall off the list, the domino effect, would be crazy. So I'm cool with Robert Stevenson. I feel like that'll be a nice piece. I don't think the relationship with him and San Diego is going to be what it was in the past. I know San Diego got their money issues and whatnot. So he's definitely, free to go get. Aaron Loop is Aaron Loop. Shout out 2001 Aaron Loop. He was a killer for the Mets. Loved him. He's probably our best player that year. Shintaro Fujinami. Love what he could be, but you want to talk about a super reclamation project, that is it. And I want to keep the Japanese quota very low based off what we talked about earlier. David Robertson, a Met favorite for so many reasons. I just think that I want to avoid the age factor, so I would like to move on from that. Ryan Stanek has history with David Stearns. I could see that as a logical fit. I do think, though, Ryan Stanek is very much more of a volatile bullpen piece. He's the Drew Smith of the Astros. So, it wouldn't really benefit us too much. But, again, pitching lab, run prevention. I would actually go with the last guy because I feel like he could start a swing game.
Absolutely.
Doubleheader type thing.
I like Robert Stevenson a lot. I think that he's an underrated name that not many Mets fans are talking about when it comes to the bullpen. I like Robert Stevenson a lot. Hector Neris, we'll see what his market is. We'll see how many years he wants. Like Nelson, you've been saying, and Keith, you said it too. The bullpen's an interesting kind of situation. We've seen the front end of the bullpen additions so far. Those guys are going to be vying for that 5th, 6th inning type role. The Mets, like you said, Keith, earlier on, need a flamethrower. They need someone to set up Edwin Diaz and lock down the 8th inning. And that's really where my mind goes to in terms of how the Mets need to go about adding to this bullpen. Nelson, let me hear your thoughts about this bullpen because, like I said, it is really a plug-and-play type situation. Keith, I agree with all your points. I would be fine, though, personally, with David Robertson. I know that reunion tours are a little bit of a tricky situation. The age factor is definitely there, but if it's a one-year deal, I won't complain about it. But Nelson, let me hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think the first 3 guys, honestly, are gonna. If we're taking Cohen and Stearns at their word, and they're not looking to spend crazy on anybody outside of Yamamoto, I feel like those 3 guys are gonna kind of be out of the Mets market. Yariel Rodriguez is a guy I also love. I almost feel like there's going to be a team that's going to dangle that starting pitcher role in front of him, and he's going to jump at it. And I don't think the Mets are going to be that team.
Yeah,
But I feel like there is a team out there that's going to be like, "Yo, you want to start?
I agree.
Fine with us." And I think he does want that. So I think I could see that happen.
I actually think it's going to be your other team.
The Pirates?
I think so. I believe that.
Hey,
I think all the other teams want to put him in the pennant, but I think your team, I read a lot, they really want a starting pitcher, but they don't know based
they're
off.
not really my team. They're my
no, like when we're not talking about the freaking Mets. No, I know, like yeah. You support.
No,
ain't nothing wrong with that. Look, I got a second team that unfortunately I have to pay attention to at times too. So it's not you're not the only one.
Who is it? What's your second team?
The Cubs.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. I don't even get into that. I don't even. It's a long story.
Essential stuff. We're good. No, I like watching. Obviously, I mean PNC Park. I'll talk it up all day. I will go there and watch. I don't care who's playing at PNC Park. I'll go watch it. I did have season tickets one year.
Really? Holy shit!
Yeah, I will.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
how was that?
PNC. I loved it. It had a weekend. I was there. It was it's an hour and a half drive to and from every time. So it gets a little old, but I love that place. I would go watch baseball there all day, every day. So yeah, if the Pirates did that, that'd be great. But yeah, I don't see him as much as I love it. I don't see him with the Mets. Stanek, like you said, he's super volatile. Robertson, sometimes it's best to let's just not. Everybody loves a reunion, but the reunions for the Mets hardly ever work out, man. They just don't.
That's a fact.
Fujinami, bro, he's got a lethal fastball, but he can't harness it. He just can't. He just doesn't know where that thing's going. I think the Mets have. If we are indeed just looking for that back end guy to set up Diaz, I don't think a reclamation project is going to be for that role. Loop, another again falls in the reclamation project. Not reunion thing. I'm done with Loop. Stevenson, I like too. I honestly feel the Mets are going to trade for their 8th inning guy. I don't know why.
That'd be dope. I'd be open for that.
I think they're going to find someone and they're going to trade for that guy. I don't know who it is. I don't get paid that much. I get paid shit. But hopefully Stearns is working on that, man. Like I said, he don't got nothing to do these next few days. He's chilling. So
Drifter mentioned a name that I actually do like. He wasn't on your list. Brent Suter. Love that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that name too. I don't know, man. There's lots of options. Like I said before, bullpens are it's always hit or miss. You're gonna get a guy in this pen this year that's gonna be really good that you're gonna be like, where the hell did that come from? And turn that around, you're gonna probably see a guy that you thought, hopefully it's somebody other than Diaz, knock on wood or whatever, but that you thought was gonna be pretty good, and he's gonna suck. Like that's what happens. Is these bullpens is crazy. So we'll see what happens. Hey, who knows? Maybe there's some arm in the minors that we're not even considering that comes up in his lights out. So
Wandy Peralta, Amish.
Yeah.
Peralta, I'd take a flyer on him too.
So would I.
Absolutely.
So I would actually welcome that very easily to New York.
That's a Mendoza reunion too, right? He's a Yankee guy, so
I'd be open to that. 100%.
Let's
Absolutely.
do
Good
it.
point, Stevie.
whoever this team is whoever Stearns wants to bring in that can help this team get to like mid-80s wins, because that's where I'm at with this team right now. I think that's where our target's got to be. We're not going to win 90, 100 games.
I don't want to win. I don't want to win 100 games. I don't want to do it.
So get me in that 85, 86 wins, and let's see. Maybe we can be that scrappy team in the playoffs. bring us the Dodgers. Let's face off with those bums.
Yo, Chris, can I ask you a personal question, if you don't mind?
Sure, yeah.
When's your birthday?
March.
All right. Well, that comment said, when would be our next move? So on Amish's birthday, Shohei Ohtani signed. Shout out Brandon, because on his birthday, actually on Brandon's birthday, Ohtani signed. And then Yamamoto signed on Amish's birthday. So the next Met fan's birthday, hopefully we get a signing, like third time's a charm type of thing. So if something with the birthdays is going on right now, it's worrying me, man.
I already said my birthday's cursed. First Correa.
That's crazy.
Last year, and now this year. Next year, I don't want shit to happen on my birthday.
Next year, you know what's happening? The Juan Soto bullshit is gonna happen.
Juan Soto. I was gonna say it's gonna be Juan Soto. Yep, absolutely.
Not. I will be. I will turn off my phone. I will be at the bar.
You know that's gonna be way worse than anything we went through. Correa and this year, that's gonna be 10 times worse. Get ready. Blunt Thoughts is gonna be on another one. Get ready. I'm just letting you know right now. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be on my birthday. Mine's in March. Stoney's is in March.
March. Okay.
I think David Stearns though might be lurking on a little burner account on Mets Twitter and gathering information on everyone's birthday. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
I hope he gets one right, man, because this is killing me.
Yeah, exactly. MBZ, this is why I like when you hop in the comments section, because you always like to check Nelson and I absolutely appreciate it. I want Neris, and I was going back and forth with MEZ about Neris versus Jordan Hicks for that 8th inning role for the New York Mets. I want Neris. I think it'll be a shorter deal than what Jordan Hicks might get, with Jordan Hicks's age. Anywhere from 3 to 4 years you're looking at for Jordan Hicks. I mean, I understand the sample size isn't there, but teams will pay and take that flyer on him for 3 years at least. I think Neris can be a shorter term deal, and I really do think the Astros fixed him. So I would definitely take a flyer on Hector Neris and sort of slide him into that 8th inning role. But everyone's entitled to their own opinions, man.
I gotta say, at least he's on you and not me. But you know what I want? An impromptu thing again. You know what I want?
All I want for Christmas is ho in this bitch. I just want a brand new set that I can whip. I just want a brand new pad without no rent. Tell Santa bring the bag so I can make it flip. Man, I hate being broke when it's Christmas. No stimulus check for the sickness. No girl under the mistletoe to lock lips. Want my wrist so cold, pneumonia in my fist. I just want.
That shit was fire. No stimulus check,
out, man.
It's a holiday. I gotta jazz it up a little bit.
No stimulus
Absolutely.
check.
You
Before we get it,
the 5 golden rings in the video.
I like that.
Special touch.
I like that.
Nelson's
That was
getting
really
creative,
good.
man. Let's talk about this as our last topic of the night, man. We're rolling on to an hour 15 on the podcast, so I don't want to keep you too long, Keith. What is your confidence level in Stearns and Cohen? And I put the PS here in parentheses saying that it's not even year one hasn't even began for Mr. Stearns and this new look regime in the front office. And I know a lot of Mets fans are going off the rails, but let's talk about it from a hypothetical perspective. What the Mets are doing right now is not the sexiest of, I guess, routes to go down. A lot of Mets fans that are used to spending in the Cohen era, obviously are not seeing that sort of replication of the big time spending like the Dodgers are doing this offseason. What's your confidence level? What's the plan moving forward? Talk about Mr. Stearns here a little bit more in depth. Where do you think the Mets head from now? What's the move?
he hasn't really lied to me. Like, I'm big on these executives lying and telling the truth. He's been pretty straightforward. I appreciate that personally. I feel like I get a more of a message rather than like a snarky smile and smirk that I used to get with Epler type of thing. So I feel like I get more of a insight. Um, he seems like he doesn't really have the answers right away, but he's working on them. So I get that kind of communication. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not trying to be a smartass, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to like temper expectations. Like, yo, we're working on it. Like, we have a vision for things, but like, I can't tell you I'm going to make a trade by the time we get off the phone, type of thing. You know? So for me, I guess my confidence level, if I had to do it like 0 to 10, would be like a 5, because I can't really like knock him. I can't praise him yet because I don't think the Mets have done anything wrong or good lately. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like these bullpen pieces. I do. But again, they're going to go into his lab. I want to see how the lab works, how it all shapes out. I'm excited to see kind of like the team being coached under Mendoza. So I guess that I give him a leg up with that. I wasn't the Craig Counsell lover that some Met fans were. So I appreciate that he picked his own guy, regardless of what people may want to feel about that situation. But he could have went a totally different route. You know what I'm saying? He picked the Yankee bench coach. I mean, he knew the Met fans weren't going to like that. He still did it anyway. So to me, he saw something. Yeah, very down the middle. You know what I'm saying? Very moderate. I haven't really, you know, I am an emotional fan, and I tend to kind of lose my shit, and I want to be like a little bit of a dick sometimes. But realistically, yeah, especially with the Yamamoto shit, I thought Steve Cohen and David Stearns handled the organization in a very classy way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, he's been very transparent, which we can certainly appreciate as New York Mets fans. And listen, this guy's a New York Mets fan himself. You heard in his open presser about, you know, his days sneaking into Shea Stadium and whatnot. Like, David Stearns is a Mets fan. He has the Mets' best interest at heart. To me, when Steve Cohen first took over this team, the Mets sort of dodged a rebuild, right? Like, it was heading into that direction, but they didn't fully get there. So it's kind of caught back up with them a little bit. But like, if 2024 is actually a bridge year, I went into this offseason basically having that out of my mind. But now stepping back, dialing it back, and looking at the offseason on a broader perspective, like, if this year is truly a bridge year, it makes sense. The Mets, ever since Steve Cohen took over, it just felt like, with the front office in flux at all times, they never really had a solidified plan with this team, with all the spending. It was spend. Let's get the best roster on paper, but no immediate plan for the future, which is what I can appreciate that David Stearns, from my point of view, is starting to at least implement and bring to the New York Mets. I know that's not what the Mets fans want to hear. I know Mets fans are impatient. I get that that's probably a cookie cutter answer too that I'm giving you all, but it's absolutely true. And I firmly believe that in the back of my mind. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but that's how I view it. Nelson, what about you?
Listen, I say it in my videos. I do these damn things almost every day. I say it over and over again. Leave my guy, David Stearns, alone. Let him cook. Leave Cohen alone, because I don't know what rock you've been under if you really think this dude is on Will Pond's level, because either you just became a Mets fan or you've been sleeping for a long time and you just woke up.
I agree.
This guy is nowhere near. If we would have never been anywhere near the conversation to sign Yamamoto, the fact that even people thought we had an inkling of an idea of signing Shohei Ohtani, that would have never happened. So can we just like dial it back with the nonsense? The guy, he came in here. We've seen this offseason how Mets fans will lose their mind over every little thing. If Steve Cohen had come in here when he bought the team, and instead of throwing money at the problem, which was basically his only option, if he just said, you know what, we're going to tear this all down. We're going to do a whole ass rebuild. The fans of this team would have freaking been pitchforks at Citi Field. You would have never heard the end of it. So the guy goes out instead and it's like, you know what? I'm just going to open my bank account, sign whoever I can, and try to build it that way. It worked for 1 year. For 1 year, it worked. This next year, it obviously didn't. And you know what he did? He said, you know what? I'm going to open my paycheck again, or checkbook again, and I'm going to buy a farm system. I'm going to pay all these bums to play for somebody else. They're not even playing for me, and I'm writing checks to these dudes. So, like, I don't blame them for going, you know what? Let me get Stearns in here. Let's rethink how we do this. Let's slow up. Instead of signing all these 40, 50-year-olds to freaking contracts, let's chill. The 25-year-old star pitcher, we were going to throw all the money in the world at him. He wanted to be a Dodger. He wanted to suck Shohei's dick. Whatever, that's cool. You go do that. But now let's think about how we're going to do 2024. Let's get our 80-something wins if we can. Let's sneak into the playoffs if we can. And let's build forward. We got a farm system that's pretty solid. We're going to keep building on that. Even though our draft pick fell, the MLB draft ain't one where you got to pick in the top 10 to get good players. Don't. Guys fall because you got cheap-ass Pirates that don't want to pay these college kids. And you got other teams the same, and they're like, all right, we're going to take a lesser prospect, and these guys fall to you. Like Colin Houck did last year to us. So
you know what I think, Nelson, though? Like, you said something that really caught my attention. Like, the farm system that he bought, like, Stearns, one thing I'm wondering is that Stearns could also, like, evaluate some. The other day, when I made the post about, like, who's on the 40-man and everything like that, it made me wonder, like, especially then the Coleman Crow trade, does Stearns like any of the Epler acquisitions that he paid for? So I'm wondering if anyone besides Acuna, because Acuna's already on the 40-man. I'm sure Gilbert too. Like, I don't doubt it. But anyone past those two names that were acquired, you know what I'm saying? There was another pitcher in the Eduardo Escobar trade. I don't remember his name.
Landon Marceau. Yep.
There you go. That could be another name. Jeremiah Jackson. We were lucky nobody picked him up on the Rule 5 draft. He stayed with our farm system. We have an outlandish line of infielders. He may be an odd man out, but that's another piece you put in the trade. You know what I'm saying?
Marco Vargas.
There you go, Marco Vargas. And the biggest one out of all of them, Kevin Parada.
Yep.
Biggest one out of all of them. So, I mean, there's things to be done if they want to do them, depending on how they value that. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Dylan Cease might happen. Who knows? You never know, man. You never know.
Well, let's face it. Stearns has no connection to any of these. He didn't have any of these prospects with him.
No.
So he can very well decide, you know what? I am going to use these kids for trades. I don't forget paying free agents. I'm just going to go trade such and such and get this guy. He can maybe he does want to take a year to see himself what these guys are, because that's just entirely a possibility. He sits back, goes, you know what? Let me see who's legit, who's not, and then next offseason, maybe I use whoever to trade for such and such. So, yeah, there's different ways this can go. We don't know, and I think that's the problem. Fans want to know. They want, like, an answer. Yeah. We don't have that. We're not going to get it. Like, so you got to chill. He's not going to lay out for you on a piece of paper, this is what I'm doing, play this, and this. It ain't happening. We're going to be guessing with everybody else. Andy Martino don't know shit. We don't know shit. John Morosi don't know shit. Nobody knows shit. So everybody I think
even to his defense, like, not that he doesn't know anything. He just doesn't. He's probably still assessing so many different things. Like, he probably, like, that Adrian Hauser, Tyrone Taylor deal, in my opinion, probably has been in the works for a minute. And that's the reason why I say that, is because first day of the winter meetings, which is a while ago, we were linked to Michael A. Taylor and nothing came about. So immediately they probably said, yo, they want more than 2 years. And he probably was like, nah, until y'all lower that, then y'all can hit me back. We'll stay in touch, blah, blah, blah. I gotta find a plan B. That's probably why he can't write. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like you're saying, Nelson. Like, I think for people to think that this guy is some messiah, that he got a crystal ball and he's gonna read you the answer to everything is crazy, son.
Well, the other thing with that is everybody the whole time the Yamamoto thing was happening. This guy's not doing anything else. Why can't he multitask? You don't know that.
He proved that wrong already, in my opinion.
Because behind the scenes, he could have been talking to every free agent out there.
Absolutely.
He could have been talking to every team out there. Like, he's not going to put out a memo for everybody. Oh, today I spoke to the Padres and the Brewers and the Cardinals, and we spoke about such and such player. Like, that ain't happening, people. Like, so who knows? Hopefully, once the new year comes, because I really do think that we're going to go back to a period here where nothing happens because during the holidays, everybody.
I agree. 1,000%.
So hopefully, after the new year, stuff starts to bear fruit, and we actually see what this roster is going to look like. Because come February, spring training starting, so we don't have that much time.
I'm going to grade David Stearns after his third year. He has a 5-year deal. I'll grade him after year 3. And that's
absolutely
fair, you know?
Yep.
And that has to be almost the case with the team that he inherited, right? Like, you almost like cannot by default grade him after year 1. That's just not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a method. I think the theme here is that there's a method to the madness, and we'll see whether it plays in the Mets' favor or not eventually, but there's a method to the madness, right?
Can I ask you guys one question that I haven't really seen asked, but maybe it has, and I just haven't been paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if the Billy Epler shit don't happen and he's still here with Stearns, this Yamamoto shit plays out any different, or you think it's still
he's a Dodger. He's a Dodger.
Yeah, he's a Dodger.
Ohtani ran the whole show. This is all Ohtani. Epler would have been there. They would have said, "Oh, look at Epler sitting on his thumb again. I thought he was a Japanese whisperer." Blah, 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 blah. Epler don't have no fucking weight. He don't pull shit. Like, as a New York Met executive, he didn't do nothing but wave Steve Cohen shepherd. That's all he did, and keep our prospects from playing. That's all the hell he did.
Well, let's give him. I will give him credit for the making the. I mean, they weren't the hardest deals in the world to make, but because he was paying lots of the contracts to get these prospects back, but he did get a pretty
at the deadline. I loved him. He was my guy.
I'll give him that.
That lasted until I found out, he was gonna maybe cost us a draft pick. He gets my ass now.
We still haven't heard about that. God knows we'll get that.
The Mets. I'm sure the Mets will walk away scot-free. I'm sure.
The Mets' front office, man, has endured some pain over the last couple of years with some different
pedophile, drunk. Got a guy who don't even know how to use the IL. It's crazy, bro.
A manager, pedophile. We just keep.
Mm-hmm.
86 says his confidence level is a bit low. Got to see the end product of the roster. The current bench coach is great.
I agree.
Fredo says, can't believe the Dodgers are spending over $1 billion within 2 weeks for 2 players. It's getting crazy with these outrageous salary deals. Carlos says, confident because now we can have options to acquire players with prospects to trade or develop and money. But I'm just worried that we still have to retool the rotation. The rotation is the priority. And then Drifter responding to that saying Stearns can draft well in low spots, which is key. Absolutely agree. Patty says, nope, Epler didn't matter, but if he was here, he would have overbid. Like I said, in that situation is like, if Epler's still here with Stearns, like Nelson was saying, like, even now, even without Epler, like, what is this dynamic of bidding for? Do you think like David Stearns goes up to Steve Cohen at the end of the day and is like, nah, we can't go past $325 million with where we want to go? Like, does he have that ultimate say? Because I don't know at this point. Does Steve Cohen have the ultimate say, or does David Stearns? I know Steve Cohen's the owner; it's his team, but like, there's a funky dynamic to be thought of there.
I think David Stearns has to, give him some heads up about like, hey, maybe we can't. Listen, I know you want to spend, Steve. I get it. I know you want to. I'm with you, but we have to limit it because we could only do so much, and if we don't get him, we'll pivot or whatever the case may be. But I just need you to know that if you go past this marker, it's going to be very difficult for me to do the rest of my job. So, and I'm sure Steve Cohen, the gangster that he is, probably tell him, I'll hear you out. I'm gonna put my number out there, and we're gonna go. Like, if you look at it, we offered only a few more years, 2 more years than the Yankees. It wasn't like a big difference in AAV from them to ours. It was like $3-4 million, some shit a year, or something like. So I guess what I'm saying is that like they kind of played the parameters of what the ballpark was. Obviously, it went up the second Ohtani announced he was getting $700 million. I knew this dude was going to get like a $50 bump in pay or even more. So I'm sure they play in the same ballpark. I'd rather it be like I help you here, you help me there, rather than, oh, let me see if he can okay this for me, or let me stop him. You know, like I'd rather them just be like, in this department, I'll let you rock. In this department, I'll let you rock. And it's somewhere in between, we come together, we figure it out. I like that personally.
Absolutely. I agree with you. That's all we had for today on this stream. I was going to do a little bit of a Q&A with the chat, but honestly, we put up comments as we go. So, yeah, we got
that shit flew though.
Got a lot of comments in here, man. This is a poppin' stream. I definitely appreciate it. We had over 50 people in this chat at one time.
What a beautiful.
At one point, 53 people talking that want to talk Mets baseball with us on their Friday nights. That is absolutely incredible. I appreciate all the support.
And this is not even your time slot, you know, like that's a big deal for you guys.
You know what though? It might have to be, because I'm telling you, these Friday night streams pop more than yeah.
Pretty dope.
Be a play.
Like that.
Could be a play. Guys, fellas, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much, Keith, for taking the time to come on.
Anytime, guys.
Plug your stuff one more time. Plug your stuff.
I'm just gonna let you know, any other time you want me back on, I will absolutely have no problem. You guys are awesome. Chris, you kill it. You're doing 1,000 sports at once. I actually told Amish, was like, yo, you tell your boy to chill out, man. He's all over the place. You're killing it. You definitely deserve a pat on the back, man.
No, this dude was in California freaking on vacation, and he was popping in on the damn stream commenting.
I love it. This kid, he's in my opinion, listen, man, Chris, anybody say some shit about you, I will slap them up for you. Don't worry, Papa. I got your back.
I appreciate that.
Amish is my OG. You know what I'm saying? Respect Amish. Love the brother. Always watch his videos. And yeah, man, look, you can find us at Shea N Sons. We're always on Twitter. Shout us out. My baby brother will be back with me for our next show. We're getting things lined up. We're gonna do the top 20 worst moments in Mets history, so stay tuned for that. That's gonna be amazing. People are gonna love that one. And yeah, just shoot us a follow. You know where to find us. We usually be on that Bird app. And yeah, man, thank you again. Merry Christmas, guys, everyone. If I don't get to speak with you, please, you know what I'm saying, be safe, have a great holiday, and you know what I'm saying, with them, you know, maybe I might see y'all next year. Boom, boom, boom. You like that one? No,
absolutely.
No? That one landed.
I like that one.
Like, next year's in a week.
I love it. I love it, man. This has been a great stream. Like I said, I love doing these collabs, man. You know where to find Shea N Sons. You know where to find Keith. All the links are in the description. Make sure you go check them out. Make sure you're checking out us too. If you're new here, first time listener, subscribe to all 3 channels. Subscribe to Nelson's channel, Amish Country Mets Fan. You know where to find him on X as well. We got an X superstar, always getting that engagement on X for Nelson. I love it. He puts out great content. Everybody's got to follow him. And you know where to find me on YouTube as well, at CPNY Sports. My Twitter is also at CPNY Sports if you wanted to follow that. You know where to find us, most importantly, on our joint account at Interstate Mets for all your latest podcast updates. Like I said, gentlemen, thank you so much. Nelson, send us off. This has been another episode of the Interstate Mets Report. Thank you so much.
Another song.
Oh, you know it. Nah, it's I got to. Before we go, Merry Christmas to you guys, both of you. Merry Christmas to everybody watching. Happy New Year as well. I don't know that we'll get one of these in before the new year. If we do, then great. But if not, Happy New Year. But yeah, before we go, I got one more time for the vibes, for the Christmas vibes.
To the window, to the wall, till the sweat drops down my balls. until all these bitches crawl. Ah, skeet, skeet, goddamn. Getting crunk in the club she's working. I like to see them females twerking. Taking their clothes off, buck and naked. ATL ho, don't disrespect it. 369, damn she fine. Hoping she can sock it to me one more time. Bring your ass right over here, ho, and let me see you get low. To the window.
Merry Christmas, baby.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. See you all in the new year. Peace.
Thank you. Welcome to the Interstate Mets Report with your hosts, Nelson and Chris.
Wait. Where's it at?
12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 Louis 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids of milking, 7 swans, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French